Okay, so this is how this shed came right here. It came in a box, 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. Pretty much just going to make a storage shed for things that I don't want to get wet. So it's not going to be like a tool shed or anything. So I did a very basic kind of foundation. I just threw down some weed berry and a little bit of gravel. So I'll let y'all know exactly how difficult this thing is, or you know, how easy it is. So let's get all this out of the boxes, start getting the foundation set up. So let's get to work. Okay, here it is. It's the next day. You can see the shed is fully assembled. Now, let me just go over with what I did to get this thing fully assembled, because it was not the easiest process. It probably took me about 4 hours. Now, it did start raining right in the middle as I was doing this. I did have a partner. I would recommend having a partner to put this thing together, because it was not the easiest, but you know what? I did it. I've never put one together. And let me just go over what they've sent and how it goes. Actually, here's one of our sheets right here. So this is the sheet with all the parts on it. Every part was included. That was a good thing. Nothing was missing in this. They gave you some spare little white gloves. So I use like some good old kind of mechanics gloves, just because you're going to be handling all this. Highly recommend using gloves. Use those if you have nothing. Here's the other sheet. You can see it got wet. Now these little white caps right here, they didn't go over what this was in the instruction. Actually, they left a few things out of these instructions. And here's some extra screws. 99% of this building is put together with this screw. It's called the F1 screw. These little caps go over the end of the screws that come through. You're going to have a lot of those. You're going to put a lot of these little washers on here. So what it had me doing is putting the base down. This is a 10 by 10 metal shed. You can see it right here. Now this thing came out nicely. Look at the width right here. And all down through here, you can see how I kind of buried it in the ground a little bit. Now, I didn't do like a full-on like foundation, but I like the fact that it has these vents right here. It didn't tell you how to put these on, but everybody, it was pretty simple. You just pretty much screw these caps in, put these side things on, and you see how many of these screws are in there. Each one of these screws, what I did, I have to use a step ladder. Get a drill. You're gonna need a good solid drill, flathead screwdriver to kind of pry some of this stuff, but look how nicely all of these turned out. So let me show you, here's the doors. The door was pretty easy to put. You can still see, here's still some of the stickers on it. There's the vents up there. This little solar panel goes to a light that I installed. This does have a lock on it. You guys see that? You can open it. One door opens very nicely. I don't see any issues with it. I had to put all this together too. Like I said, it's like anything. When you first see it in the box, it looks very intimidating, but once you start putting it together and it starts forming its shape, you'll be fine. There's a little hook right there and a hook down there. A lot of times I don't even hook that, but check this out. So there's the doors. They swing open just like that. Look at how big this thing is. Look, I'm walking in here. I do have to duck down a little bit to go by that. Here's my light. I installed this light right here. So the light comes on when it comes in here. I don't see any issues with that at all. You see what those little white caps are used for? Right there. You go on those into those screw heads. So you screw all this down, put this together. Yeah, everybody, everything was labeled. So everything, if it didn't have a stamp on label like that, it had a sticker label on it. You see how that has a stamp on label right there. But check this out. Look how much room I got in here. The top right here looks to be around about 6'5" right there, and probably about 5'6" right here. I'm guessing 5'6" to about 6'5". I would think that's about a foot drop right there, but you could easily put a lot of equipment. I think 99% of the people that's going to have this is going to be adequate for what you need for a full-on shed. Make sure you do it like it said in instructions, PK1, and then I just went down. You can see PK4. I just slowly went down and assembled each one, left this gap here, and you'll see why. And then I did this entire side over here, and then I came back and did the beam along the roof. This is what I was talking about, the roofing right here. See that trim that goes down the roofing, and then that right there. Pretty solid, you know, for what this affordable, how affordable this thing is. I don't see any issues with this thing at all. I think it's a great option for anyone that's just looking for a little small tool shed that, you know what, will not break the bank. So yeah, there it is, everybody. That's all I got on, you know what, the 10 by 10 tool shed. See y'all in the next video.